Hi everyone, as part of my collaboration with Mana over at Dolls Rescued, I'm going to make a hat for my Blythe doll, or rather for Mana's Blythe doll. I've made a dress and now I'm going to make a hat to send with the dress. So what I'm doing is I'm making a pattern by laying the doll onto some plain paper and drawing around her head. You need to make sure that you leave a good seam, because you need to come up the sides of her head. It's difficult to explain, but make sure you leave a good size seam around her head, like so. And then I'm also going to decide where I want the hat to come to and roughly mark that on my pattern too. So this is just my rough guide. Once I've made this pattern and tried it, I can then alter it to fit, if you see what I mean. So I'm just making this roughly. I'm going to fold the paper in half before I cut it out so that I've got a symmetrical pattern. So I'm going to cut it out. I need to cut out two, so I'm going to cut this one out first. This is going to be used for the front, so I'm going to cut this one out first, and then what I'll do is I'll draw around it and cut it out again, and then I can cut the front out, if you see what I mean. So that's going to be the front part, but at the moment it's the same shape that I need the back. So now I'm going to cut that out again for the back. So lay it on your folded paper, lay it on the seam, draw around it and cut it out. So now I can go ahead and cut out the shape of the front. So this is where I want it to come to at the front, with a little bit added on so that I can turn it over and make a little seam. So you can see here I've adjusted it slightly. There we go. So I'm just going to roughly try it on the doll's head, and I'm working under the assumption that too big is going to be better than too small. So it does seem as if it's a little bit too big, but then I can always take it in a little bit. I think I'm going to go with that. I've chosen this lovely soft pink fur fabric. So lay your fabric out so that you can lay your pattern onto the reverse of it. And you need to cut one piece of the front and one piece of the back. So pin your pieces into position, making sure that your fur fabric is going in the direction you want it to go in. So I'm pinning the back and the front next to each other, making sure that the fur will be in the same direction on each piece. And then I'm just going to cut out those two pieces. So my pieces are cut out, and the next thing I'm going to do is put right sides together and pin around the edge. When you pin your fur pieces together, make sure you tuck your fur in. That way you won't have a wide seam. You'll not see the seam if you tuck your fur in as you pin it. So here we are, all pinned together and ready to stitch, and I'm deciding now that I'm going to add in some little fur ears as well. So I found a scrap of paper that I've cut into my ear shape, and now I'm going to cut 4 pieces of that out, so 2 for each ear, and then we can fold it in the middle like so, and it'll make the ears stand up and look more ear-like. I've folded my fur in half and I'm pinning my pattern onto the fur, and then I'm just going to cut 2 of those out like that. Once you've got them cut out, pin them together like you did the hat part, tucking in the fur as you go around. So get them both pinned together. The next thing to do is to stitch around the edge of each ear. And then we're going to turn the ears right side out. So we've got the fur side out. And then you need to fold the bottom together like this, sort of fold it in half, and we're just going to stitch across that bottom seam there. So fold your ear in half and stitch just across the bottom there. So here we are. I've made my 2 ears. You can see they look really cute, don't they? Make sure the front of the ear is facing the front of your hat. Position them where you want them to go and pin them inside your hat facing downwards like this. I'm going to remove a few of the pins here. I'm going to position my ears where I want them to go, and then I'm going to make sure that they're pinned the right side down. They need to be facing downwards, and you need to make sure the front of the ear is towards the front of your hat. Make sure you catch the bottom of your ear in between both pieces of fabric. So bring your back and front of your hat together, catching the edge of the ear well into there. There we go. Pin it into position. Do the same with the other side. And then I'm just going to carefully stitch around the edge of that hat, making sure I trap both of those ears into position. Do it carefully because it is quite thick where the ears are. My machine actually did go through it fairly well. And here we have the finished hat. Look how cute it is. I love it. I've also turned the edge up all the way around and made a little hem there. Not that the fur would fray, I don't think, but just so that it looks a bit better. So let's get the girl and try it on her. I'm really happy with that. I think for a first attempt that's come out really well, and it looks so cute on her. I just love it. I've also sewn on some little ribbons to each side so that it can be tied. You could also use cord for this. You don't have to use ribbon. It's just what I had to hand. And then on the bottom of each piece of ribbon, you can see I've added a little teddy bear button just to make it a little bit cuter. There we are. Yeah, so that'll tie under her chin if you wanted it to, or it can just be left to dangle down. So I hope that was useful to someone. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.